All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing really well today. Thank you for coming in. I do appreciate you being here. We're going to give just a few minutes. Hey, Kevin Hawthorne, what's going on, bud? Hope you're doing well. Jack Gallman, as always, from Marion, North Carolina. I hope you're doing well as well. Today, we're going to have a conversation. Now, I have my panelists up. They'll be here in just a moment. Everybody's topping off their coffee right now. But we're going to talk about numismatics and what we can do to prevent the decline, much like happened in Flatley, which is the collection of stamps that happened in the 80s, 90s, all the way up into the early 2000s. Hey, Steve, good morning, sir. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Bet you $100 Oregon ain't awake yet. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we can do, some of the things that are potentially good for the hobby, and some of the things that could potentially hurt the hobby. So we'll be talking about that today. And again, as always, we'll probably go off script, do a little bit of random stuff. But without further ado, let me bring up my panel. Obviously, you know them very well. Good morning, Paula.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
I know Eric has to go downstairs, so he's going to be just a few moments. Hey, John Shank, good morning. Coffee. Say again.
He's making coffee.
Java, 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 Java.
Java, 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 Java.
I love that movie. Movie always makes me laugh. He's sitting on the couch. Java, Java. Hey, Roxzilla, good morning. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you all for being here. Oh, so what are you doing, Paula? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm finally getting over that stupid cold I had. That thing was crap.
The crud.
But other than that, I did. I had the crud. Yeah, and this for some reason this virus liked to move around. Started in my throat.
Within you?
No, in my body. In my body.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it just made its way around. But I'm good.
It's like Elf with the elevator. I'm going to stop at every level.
Yeah, exactly. And it did.
Yeah, Bifrost and I both had nasty GI bug at the beginning of the week. Not sure exactly.
My granddaughter had that. Yeah.
No, it was horrible. Stomach cramping. I slept Monday. I did feel good on Sunday last week. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. I want to throw up. I actually was sick. Within hours of doing that, I was in bed. So I quite literally was going to throw up. But I called and I checked on her to see how she was doing, and she's like, I don't feel good at all. So I don't know. We had went out to eat on Saturday, so I don't think it was foodborne because it lasted like 2 days. But yeah, it was bad. Like I was bedridden almost all Sunday evening and all day. I slept almost 19 hours on Monday. Just beat me up. So I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was crazy.
Yeah, there's always these, it's that time of year, and lots of different bugs going around. So if it starts getting cold, people start spending more time inside and things just incubate.
Well, and we're doing every Friday night, we're doing the football game. So we're around tons and tons and tons of people and kids.
Me too. Well,
yeah, so
the home games, I go to the home games, but
we our team won 42-0 again last night. This is
I don't know what ours did. I haven't checked the score yet.
This is the third straight week we won by more than 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Just crushing the teams. Now the few weeks before we got like pummeled, but we've been playing good ball. Like the other teams have been playing decent. The team we played last week, it was like, hey, okay, come on, mercy rules. Somebody walk out on the field and force our team to put in third string or something, because they were a very, very small school. They had like 15 total players. So
yeah,
they were playing offense and defense. They were just getting pummeled. So how are you doing, Eric?
Wonderful. Doing great. Hope
So you,
everybody else is doing great as well.
we were just talking getting over bugs that are going around.
I've been doing pretty good. I got my COVID vaccine. Yay me. That didn't affect me at
Yay,
all.
you! I've not had a single one.
I don't mind getting them.
Hey, what's up, West Texas Stacker? How you guys doing? Hope
I
you're doing
did have
well.
the actual COVID.
Morning,
I
AZ
haven't
Coins.
had COVID yet either. I've been lucky.
Hey,
I
Joyce.
had it twice. I had it twice. The
I had
first
it
time I
twice.
had it really bad. The second time, not so bad.
Yeah, the first time I was very same. The first time it took me down hard. Like 5-6 days in bed, miserable. I lost 15, almost 20 pounds. It was bad. Wolf Metals, what's going on? Good to see you. David Carlisle is in the house. Hope you're doing well. All right, so one question I want to pose to you two. So we've talked about this in the past. This is kind of a conversation that I know Paula and I have had, probably 1,000 times. What are some of the things that are affecting our hobby? How can we, as coin collectors, numismatists, with channels or just in general, how do we help prevent our hobby from going in decline? So this is one of the things I want to. This is one of the things I want to talk about today. I've had a couple people ask me, it's like, Frosty, do you really think that numismatics is in jeopardy? And it's like, well, information that's not shared, how many people thought that we would ever forget how to build the pyramids? Or how many people ever forgot how to lift a, 2-ton obelisk onto its end? The old way of
I don't even know what an obelisk is.
Have you ever seen the Washington Memorial?
Yeah, there you go. Washington Monument.
In
Washington
pictures.
Monument. The real big pointy thing in the middle of the gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an obelisk. So how do we raise those things without the advent of cranes and stuff like that? So there's a lot of things throughout history that if it's not shared, it's not whatever, that we can potentially forget it. So hashtag growing the hobby. I like it, Wolf Metals. But yeah, it's just one of those things that a lot of people are like, well, is numismatics really in any kind of jeopardy? And it's like, well, I don't want to say necessarily that it's in jeopardy, but it's important that we keep it in the forefront, or we're going to end up like the stamp collecting of the 80s and 90s.
I think a lot of the stamp collecting was from the change in stamps and the change in availability and postage. You don't have to go to the post office to get postage anymore. And they changed stamps. I mean, they made them stickers, which, I mean, that's a good thing for people who use a lot of stamps.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have to worry. I mean, I guess what we have to worry about as far as numismatics go is, are they going to quit making coins? Are we going to go totally digital? If we go totally digital, the young people probably will not get into collecting coins.
Well, so I'm gonna just pose a question as far as that goes, if they stop making coins, because we have had coins historically from the beginning of time that they have stopped making, that people still collect.
Sure. No, so, and they will, but there's always going to be coins. I mean, there's stamps now. You go to a place that sells stamps, and when it says they buy and sell, if they're uncirculated stamps, they'll give you the face value for the stamps, for the common ones, because they're worth that in change. Like a 3-cent stamp's still worth 3 cents. And there is some stamps that they command a lot of money still.
You guys remember these?
Those. Sure do.
Yep.
I was always focused on the stamp in the middle there.
Well, I think that the biggest thing, if we want this hobby to continue on, if we're talking long run, the thing that has to be done is it has to be passed on to the younger generation. If we're not doing our work as far as that goes to get the younger generation involved and interested, then it has no choice but to die out, because all of us will eventually die out. So
And misinformation, make sure
yes,
they know the truth. That, I mean,
Yep.
the
yeah,
biggest piece of misinformation that you see is you're going to get rich doing this.
yep.
Yeah, and I
Do it
think
because
that's
you enjoy it.
one of the major. I put 5 items down, and that's one of the major ones that I
Yeah,
think
This
are a
has to
jeopardy to the
be
hobby.
fun first and
Yep.
foremost.
that's
It
right.
has to be fun.
Do it because
It's a
you enjoy
hobby.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, there's a lot of stuff to numismatics that's not just necessarily about the coin. You guys know I like talking about the history behind it. Why did they do it? So you talked a little while ago about the 3-cent stamp. So 2 of our coins came from the creation of stamp, or to make stamping easier, um, and that was the 3-cent nickel and the 3-cent dime, right? Um, and so looking at those particular pieces and understanding
3 cent.
the history behind it and understanding what its intent was, and but misinformation, combating misinformation is huge because it's so rampant on social media right now. You know, I love understanding counterfeiting. I'm not very good at it. Let me rephrase that. I'm not saying I'm not good at counterfeiting. I'm not very good at understanding and identifying it. But there are some people that they made that their life's work. You look at people like Jack Young and Joe Cronin, people who are adept at doing this, and they really want to make sure that the hobby's protected. The number one threat to money is counterfeiting. The number one threat to a society is people faking and manipulating their money, utilizing it against them, and we see that a lot in this hobby. And so, not just the misinformation, but again, the counterfeiting. I think those are 2 things that are extremely huge. And why is that a problem in my book? Because sites like Timu, where we get somebody that says, well, it doesn't really matter if I want to have one in my collection because it's just me. But ultimately, they're all going to end up in the hobby, right?
Yep.
Ultimately,
And
all
something's
those
going
things
to
are going to end
happen
up in
and
circulation.
it gets in circulation. That's right.
Yep.
The kid sees it and says, I'll just take this to the store and buy a beef jerky with it.
Yeah, and they may or may not know any better, depending upon what the variety of the coin is, right? So, back in the day when I first started working at the convenience store, when somebody threw it on there, I could tell you whether it was silver by the sound it made when it hit the counter,
That's right.
right? And I've had a couple of people, it's like, I don't think that's real, right? It doesn't have the right sound. And then you'd drop one, because we always had extras that were there, would drop one and you'd hear it, and then you drop the other one, it'd make a little tink sound. It's like, it's not the same sound. I don't think that's real. Um, but yeah, counterfeiting and misinformation, I think, are 2 major, major ones. Hey, John Hanna, good to see you. Yeah, so that's a good question. I'll let you 2 chime in on that one. But yet, the Henning nickel is collected. So, what is it about the Henning nickel? Or I'll throw another one in there that's the Omega Man. So, why of the
Well, the
counterfeit
Henning
coins?
is, I think, is the I think the Henning is, so the Omega is still gold, right?
It is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They
So
use
it's not
gold.
as attainable, and like the Henning circulates. Um,
And I
but
think it's more historical too.
yeah.
Maybe if they do something to be able to crack down in 100 years, these Chinese fakes might be collectible. We can't
Oh,
say that they
there
won't be. And
everything's collectible.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Uh,
I know, I totally do.
Well,
uh,
Chuck has an
Yeah.
entire counterfeit penny set.
and that's what I was saying. Don't think you haven't had a counterfeit penny in your pocket, because I'm sure they make tons of them.
Mhm.
They counterfeit every single date. Why would you
Yeah.
counterfeit a 1965 penny? There's no reason for it, but they do it anyways.
Because if you can make 4 or 5 cents, that's pure profit.
Yep.
Well, that was so they will counterfeit anything. That
Yep.
was the thinking with the Henning. That is what Henning he thought, well, a nickel will be pretty inconspicuous.
And he's not wrong.
So,
Nope.
and he was not wrong. He just he didn't think it through. I'm not sure that I would like to go back in time and find out how much like advertisement there was when they actually switched the design of the nickels for the wartime nickels, when they actually changed the design and they changed the metal content.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how much the public actually knew that it was going on, even while it was going on, because perhaps he really didn't even realize that they had put a mint mark above Monticello, and because they didn't have like Facebook, and
Or
maybe
he didn't think people looked close enough to care.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Well, and how many of them circulated and nobody did notice?
And
You're
in
still finding
42
them,
they
so.
did 42 they did both, so maybe he assumed that they just continued to do both through 43 and 44, and so on. Maybe he just assumed that they were just minting both types, because I can't imagine that it was just a oopsie. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to know what the logic was around there,
Yeah.
because I can't imagine that it was just an oversight, a simple oversight, because that is what got him
Right.
caught.
Exactly.
Well,
But
yeah,
like I said,
he
maybe
was
he was
in
just like,
jail
it's only
during
a
the
nickel. Who's
creation
going to
of
notice?
this idea. He was in jail for counterfeiting $1 and $5 bills. So he concocted this idea while in jail for counterfeiting bills. So, because he was already doing a 3-year stint for counterfeiting ahead of time, and so you would think that he would have done some research. So I'm wondering if, and I don't know that I've seen much advertisement about war nickels. I'm trying to see if I can find anything
If there was a press
regarding some of
release
the
or anything,
advertisement, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of.
probably on page 200 of the New York Times.
Right? In small print down at the bottom.
So according to PCGS, it says along the way, the search for a new alloy took some unexpected twists and turns. Just after Japanese planes attacked Pearl Harbor, the 42 issue of Numismatics scrapbook magazine indicated that chemists had developed a nickel. And so they had talked about the design, changing the design because nickels are really hard to produce. But they don't really talk anything about advertisement or being aware of
The composition.
Yeah.
Oh, there were multiple test compositions and all kinds of things during that time. I have a whole book on the alloys and the metals that they tested during that time before they finally came up with what they did. And I can imagine that they could put something out today in circulation and we wouldn't even know that the metal composition was different than, like they could very easily take part of, some of the nickel out of a nickel and put something else in there, and we probably wouldn't even know the difference until somebody decided to check it.
Right. Or it's embedded in a law somewhere.
Well, yeah. You look at what's going on with Canada right now, and their moose knuckle coins that are all counterfeit, right? So you look at the way
on
to
the toonies?
identify it. Huh?
Lots of toonies. There's
On the
Montreal.
toonies.
Yeah.
On the polar bear.
But
Yep, the
there's
polar
so
bear.
many out there that they just whatever.
Yeah, they don't care. There's actually 3 or 4 different kinds now.
There was a recent story about a person trying to drop, oh man, 100,000 new ones in there. He purchased them from an online retailer and was trying to pass them off as authentic. Was busted. So, but again, it's counterfeit coins. I think is going to be one of the biggest boons because if you spend a bunch of money to find out that a coin is fake, you're not ever gonna want to do it again. I still think it's a huge risk, and people like Jack Young and Joe Cronin and Jack Riley, some of those folks, right, are really working hard. We need somebody to pick up the mantle from them.
Well, something's going to come along. There's going to be something that comes along that's going to combat that. I don't know what it is. I'm not smart enough to like figure out what it could be, but
well, it might. I mean, like new coins, you already know what it's going to be. It's going to be the laser, like we were talking about laser etching and all that.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to start seeing coins that get better as far as counterfeits because you are going to see people start laser mapping the surfaces of the coins.
Yeah, but I can imagine that there's going to be some type of technology that comes about that will make it easier to detect them or to test them or
Probably.
something.
It will probably be something that is too perfect in the future.
Well, I mean you look at how long did it take? Go ahead.
As smart as they are, there will always be somebody smarter that will be able to they will screw up something. Like how with the Morgan dollars and some of the large cents and stuff like that Jack Young and them have been studying, what they're doing is they're taking real coins and they're making multiple years from these fake dies that they're making. So they don't realize that there are actual markers on those coins that can be traced. And I think that there's always going to be that. There's always going to be markers that are going to identify that specific coin, the host coin. And there's going to be people smarter than them that are going to be able to detect it. But that's not going to, by that time, people have already purchased them.
That's right.
And it's so, as soon as somebody comes into this hobby and they get screwed, there's 2 directions they can go. They can either decide that they're going to do more research in the future, or they're going to just find a new hobby.
Or they're going to start screwing people.
Or they're going to turn around and be like, oh, well, that's profitable. Let me try that. Yeah. So 3 directions.
Well, and there's so I don't know if you guys are tracking this, but in 2017, they dropped the 50 euro note, right? And they were like, it's going to be almost impossible to counterfeit. It's going to be, there are security things that you can only see under ultraviolet light. It took 3.5 or 4 weeks before somebody had created and circulated one that almost fooled, that was fooling people, right? I'm trying to find the specifics on that piece, but there were some security features on the 50 euro note, and I've got to remember this correctly. I wish I would have pulled it up, but on the 50 euro note, there's an area where there's like 2 buildings, and there's like a cross hatching pattern that's done inside another pattern, and when you shine that on the infrared, a different pattern shows up. And they copied that. They had that down within just a few weeks. So wherever there's a will, there's a way. There's going to be somebody who's going to be able to do this. And I think that as we utilize more and more technology, we're just opening the floodgates to the potential for this. Um, but yeah, I mean, just because they add new security features, those are just temporary items. They have to constantly change. It's not like it's a one and done. You can't just put it in there and just be like, okay, well now we have it. So we're always going to have to be doing something, changing something, shifting something, and for God's sakes, do something better than a single missing reed on the edge of a
Right.
coin, because it's like, good hell, you guys. I mean, really?
Well, have you seen the Canadian paper money? For the larger denominations, it changes throughout the year, and it's made like on plastic. It's not even made on
Mm-hmm.
paper anymore.
Oh, when we went to Europe, um, there were so many. I was like, holy smokes, because there was paper, and then there was partial paper and plastic, and then there were ones that were like the full plastic notes, and they almost felt like laminated, and it was like, oh my god, there's so many different types of money. How do you track what's what? Like, you know,
I think that they pull it in and destroy it, and that way they know that I think by attrition is how they're trying to control it in like Europe and Canada. Is if you change the composition every few weeks, and then you just bring the old stuff in and
Destroy it.
destroy it. Yeah, I mean, dollar bills don't have a real long time.
Right.
$20 bills are the
Right.
same way. They don't last a whole long time.
unlike
they get
nickels.
shredded. Yeah, unlike a nickel.
Right.
Right.
Well, and that's one of the beautiful things about this hobby. And one of the reasons why this hobby will carry on, at least in my lifetime, and I mean, I know it's going to carry on, because even counterfeits are collected. So that is part of this hobby. There will be people who will come into this hobby, and that will be their interest. That will be their point of focus. I don't see that there is really anything that can happen, even if they quit making coins. Like I said, they quit making the 2-cent piece. They quit making all of those obsolete coins, and people still come into this hobby, kids, and that becomes their focus.
Right.
And those haven't been around forever. So
Right, and it'll still happen. But I think when you have money in your pocket, like a pocket full of change, and you
yeah.
come across something that is different,
Oh,
you automatically have the intuition to say, well, this could be collectible.
mm-hmm.
And if they get rid of money, people won't have a pocket full of change. So you're going to have to tell these people that it's collectible.
Yeah, I just wrote something up about that like a week or so ago in one of the groups about how people that's one of the like people need to be more patient with new people that come into the hobby and ask questions that they think are stupid or whatever, because the majority of the population goes their entire life handling coins and never even looking at them.
That's right.
It's not until they either by chance come across some type of Facebook post or Facebook, advertisement or some video or some article or something that talks about a specific coin that makes them start to like look at their pocket change. And then when they do, like Eric said, every time they see something that looks different, they automatically think it's something like these women's quarters, the "In God We Trust" thing.
Yeah.
That has, I mean, that like immediately took over because.
Or in God We Rust. That's another one.
Yeah. Well, that's an actual error. Like that is an actual
error. Through grease, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the "In God We Trust" is just a change in the font and the design, and for some reason, they decided that the Jovita Idar quarter was going to be the big one. when in all actuality, it's throughout the whole women's quarter series. But the Hovide Dar, because it looks so odd to people when they flip it over, it is a very, very unusual design where all of the wording is in her shirt, right? And the rest of the field is blank, other than just her. So it is an odd thing. But you see it on all kinds of things. They see it, they pick up a parking lot coin, and it looks different. So they start scrolling through Google, and then they see pictures of actual errors that for whatever reason in their head looks similar to their parking lot coin.
Right.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just, and we have to be a little gentle with these people in the beginning, because we have to understand where they're coming from. Most of the time, it's because this is the first time they've ever really looked at their coins. We want to keep them in the hobby. We want to retain them.
I'm surprised there's not people that just flat out collect parking lot coins.
Well, there are. I have seen that.
There are people that do that, yeah.
I have seen people that say, I just collect, I don't care if it's damaged, I collect things that look odd. When my grandson, when he was little and I first started kind of trying to get him into coin collecting, we would come across the copper-plated zinc cents that looked like disco balls. He called them disco balls because just enough of the copper plating would flake off around the entire thing, that if you turned it to the light, the zinc would reflect and it would look a little bit like a disco ball. So there are people that collect, either they just say that or they really do. That's a whole nother issue. But
sure. Well, I can see, that's like me and Chuck have had this argument. There are people that collect machine doubling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I was just about to say that.
But it's worthless and this and that. I says, but it's not worthless to them. Say what you say, that it is mechanical doubling. It's not an error or variety or blah, 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 whatever, however you want to say it. But if you want to collect something, go ahead and collect it. You can let them down softly. You can say, hey, this is what it is. But if you love it, by all means, keep it.
And if they're having fun, if that is fun to them, then
that is right.
What we're here to do is just to inform them, so that they don't pass it on to their family members and they're thinking that they have something really special.
Yeah, or if they pass it on, their family members know what it is.
Yeah, or they don't try to sell it to somebody, because there are those people that will try, that are insistent that they have found an amazing error coin and
the 69S double die.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Or the 55 poor man's.
Yeah. Or in the 55, you can find it 52, 53, 54, 55. There's a lot of the real deteriorated dies that do that. Yeah. 5 and 3 really.
5s and 3s are a big one.
Really do it.
Mm-hmm. But or the L on the rim.
I'm surprised, and there was a little bit of the like in 68, the motto started getting into the rim.
Yeah.
And I'm really surprised people haven't said, this is collectible. It's an error, because in God we trust is in the rim.
Oh, I've seen that.
And that's why we got
out there.
New design in 69, is because the master was wore out.
Yeah. No, I have seen that. I have seen, and sometimes people will even mistake it for like a broad strike or an off center, because it's not just the design, it's also affects the rim, and it doesn't completely form the design rim. So people, it's a slippery slope, and sometimes takes a gentle touch, but then you get the people that just want to argue, and you're like, I don't want you in my hobby anyway.
Yeah,
get out.
that's
get out.
Don't do Facebook anymore. I mean, I gave up on it years ago.
Oh boy. I
Um,
just had a huge thing. I just had another big thing about
yeah,
the Bradford exchange.
oh boy.
Hey, Chuck, thanks for the gifted membership, brother. I appreciate you.
Check stacker, that was nice. King's coins, got it. Woohoo. Yeah, it's you just have to be selective.
Now,
Who
I
you listen to. So
if you ever needed help, you know where to go. Most people that know me know that. Facebook is just not a good place for me because it's too combative. Life is too short for me to have to worry about what other people think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's one thing that I have a problem. One of the major issues that I have with Facebook is people just get mean fast.
yeah,
Like,
if you
just
don't agree with them,
ignorant.
all of a sudden they're aggressive.
Yeah.
It's easy to be aggressive when you're not standing in front of somebody.
Well,
But I don't
because
see that as much
of
in
their
YouTube,
ego.
Instagram, TikTok. I see way more in like Facebook. There's just something about Facebook where people just get obtuse.
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 Obtuse. I love that.
Yeah, it's like,
Favorite.
what the hell is up with Facebook? I left all the groups. I was like, I'm done. I don't
I
even
didn't
want to do
leave
it.
them, but I don't
People
participate,
are
so I
ignorant.
don't see anything unless somebody says, "Hey, did you see this?" And I'll say, "What group is it in?" And then I'll look it up, and then I'll see the posts for the next 2 or 3 weeks until I don't.
Matt T's got jokes. He is joking, by the way, for those looking at chat. He says, I put all the parking
Etsy.
lot coins on
Yeah.
Etsy as rare varieties.
Well,
Right?
you have a lot of competition.
Yeah,
That's
there's
right.
a lot of that stuff out there.
There's something on the list. If you collect coins, don't buy them from Etsy.
No.
Or
Wish,
Alibaba.
or Timo or
Or
Alibaba.
Timo.
Even
Yeah.
eBay, I hate to say it, but eBay is a very, very, you have to really know what you're looking at and be prepared.
Don't buy anything from anyone until you do your research.
Be prepared for it not to be what you get. There's eBay, what the new trend on eBay, besides counterfeit stuff, is they post a legitimate picture and then they don't send you a legitimate coin. And then they say no refunds, and you can't get a refund, even if, because somewhere in their listing it says that it's just a picture to represent the quality of coin that you're going to get.
You have to read very carefully.
And know what you're buying. And there are some reputable sellers on eBay. Don't get me wrong, but there is an equal number of unreputable sellers on eBay. So that, and out of all the sites, out of like Poshmark, Etsy, there's another one. Was it Macari or something like that?
Macari, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and then there's another one even after that. eBay is probably the best one.
Yeah.
Because you have a chance of getting something good.
the other thing that I want to warn you guys when you're talking about purchasing on sites, there are many good sellers on these sites. Okay, so I don't want to knock it for everyone, but one you have to really be careful with is Whatnot, and the reason is because
There's another one. That's what I was thinking.
And that 10-second timer, it's bam, 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 bam,
And you
bam.
can hit it where it says $10, and it can all of a sudden jump up to $50.
Yeah,
By the
if you're
time
not,
you slid that little thing over, yep.
if you're not paying attention, number one, you can seriously overpay.
Well, you'll have 10 people hit the button for $10, and it'll just scroll it right up to $50.
Yeah, and so you've got to be very, very careful with that. Know who you're buying from, number one. That's really important. We have people, Blue Ridge Silverhound sells, we have Adam that sells coins and ghouls. We have people in the community that sells very reputable. You have good quality. What they show you is what you get. But again, be very careful because you might get a good deal every once in a while. No big deal. That's going to happen. But the adage, caveat emptor, right? That's buyer beware. That a site like that, you can overpay really, really fast. And I've done it with one of the innovation coins. I was looking to buy one for $20, and I don't know what the hell happened, and I ended up buying it for like $45.
it's because somebody, more than one person, hit the button at the same time, and it runs it right up.
Yep. And I went, whoa, that's not what I was anticipating. But be very careful with that. So if you're going to do that, know what's going on. Now, the one thing that I do like about Whatnot is it automatically takes. So when you're done, there's no worried about all this other stuff.
Yeah.
You absolutely should mark those coins, Rockzilla.
And here's the thing, Rockzilla, just because they're fake don't mean somebody don't want to buy them. But yes, mark them fake for legitimacy reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And Roger Borland, my house is okay. I just lost a couple soffits and some gutter stuff.
Hey, Roger, I missed you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Hey, there's a person I haven't seen. What's going on, Ed the Lorax? How you been? Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I love it when names I haven't seen for a while pop in.
Magic. Yeah. Not all counterfeits are created equally. That is true.
They're not. And I think there's even other counterfeits out there. I don't know specifics on them, but I think there's some that are worth more than like Hennings. There's some that are like 1s and 2s that are very valuable.
There is a double die that was in the Cherry Picker's Guide for a long time.
There's
turned out to be a counterfeit.
There's another one. There is a legendary 1996 Wide AM.
Yeah, right.
That disappeared.
Yeah, look, that one's never been seen by human eyes.
It has been. It was seen by a bunch of people, and then it was supposed to be sent in and to be verified, and all of a sudden it was lost.
Okay, my understanding of the story is that he claimed he had it, showed it to
people saw it. He showed people,
and then lost it.
And we won't mention any names. If you're familiar with the story, the guy was a huge variety collector, and he did a lot of good things for the hobby, but that wasn't one of them. And he might have been fooled. He might have found it. Somebody might have gave it to him or sold it to him. You know, we don't know the whole story. I do know that it was shown. I want to say it was shown at a fun show.
Hey, Happy Chappy with a gifted membership. Thank you so
Chuck
much.
knows more about that one. There was something about, there was thoughts when it was first viewed that there was a machined edge on the inside of the rim. And then after that, he was supposed to ship it somewhere, and he shipped it and it never showed up anywhere. It was disappeared. So I know people that looked for that bought 1996 P-rolls for 2 years because of that.
Well, looked at every one. That's a really good point, because a little bit of misinformation, a lot of times misinformation is utilized to make a buck, right? And so I don't know how many times the three of us. No. In the world is that? Oh, it's Paula. It sounded like the dogs were barking downstairs. Hi. Hello.
Sorry.
We've talked about this a number of times, and that is.
Hi.
Okay. Hello.
Okay.
We have somebody that just woke up.
Yes, they did, and nobody else is awake in the house except for Grandma. So
they got to come see Grandma.
Yeah.
That's good. Which one is this?
Okay. These are two of them. This is Izzy and Liam. Izzy and Liam.
All right. What are your favorite coins, little ones?
Izzy, do you have a favorite coin?
Nickels.
Nickels.
That's
about you, sign. Liam? Which one do you like?
Say gold, Liam.
What coin do you like? Pickles.
Pickles. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, great. Now the cat's in here. What the heck is going on?
Now, does your cat do what my cat does when I'm doing something like this? He wants to get on the desk and knock stuff over.
On the keyboard. Yeah.
Walk across the keyboard. Yeah. How dare you not take care of me?
Aye.
Like my blanket?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Just.
So, how many times have we talked about people utilizing fake coins or things for nefarious purposes? So, you talked about the 1996. How many people spent mounds and mounds and mounds and mounds of money looking for something that doesn't actually exist?
They still do.
Yeah. So be
Oh, yeah,
very
speaking of that.
aware, especially for you that like to be early adopters. You guys run a higher risk than many people. So be very careful if you're an early adopter.
You asked Chuck about coins. I do believe he's got a 1921 CC Morgan dollar. Yeah, he's got dates that don't exist.
Well, his 58S penny.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, but like Morgan dollars, there's tons of it, and there's a lot of people that would fall for that. Oh my God, it must have been a one-off. You know, it escaped.
Yeah.
Did you see my 1796 piece dollar?
No.
Yes. It's ridiculous.
No, that literally, it's a 1796 piece dollar, and you can buy it online for the very cheap price of like $8.96 or something like that. Yeah, so be very careful about some of those items because it's just like, really. The big ones are the ones that happen, like the 1876 Morgan, right? The ones that happened 1 or 2 years before.
Morgan. My daddy's name is Morgan.
The 1922 Morgan.
Morgan.
Their dad's name's Morgan, so
Oh,
they're perking up. Yeah.
hello, he's talking
Morgan.
about daddy. No, we're
Yes.
talking about coins.
Okay, I'm gonna mute. Go ahead
No
until I
worries.
have something to say.
But yeah, there's a number of those. I need to have Chuck back up to talk about the
Like his counterfeit. He's got a lot. I was with him when he got a 1909 S that had an S that was glued on. That's one thing you used to see a lot. You don't see it so much anymore.
So Jack
But they would
Guy,
take-
he says, I like the topic of the video, but what you're saying is that there are scammers out there. How do you protect against it? One of the key elements, and we've talked about this earlier, thanks for coming in, by the way, is information, right? Sharing information, understanding what's misinformation, finding good, reliable, trusted resources, having conversations like this, having a group of people that not only do they understand kind of what each other likes, but understand some of the pitfalls, so understand some of the issues. Now, we've been talking about coins that don't exist. The 1796 piece dollar, looking at the IMS Coin Crew, looking at things like the 1876 Morgan dollar or the 1964 piece dollar, or some of those things where, we know those things don't exist. Looking at things like the counterfeits that are here, and we talked about, the 58S, or looking at sites like Temu or Alibaba or Amazon, eBay, whatever these sites may be that sell these items, making sure you have good people in your corner, making sure that you have people who are there
in
to
transparency.
teach. Well,
be honest. If the coin
again,
is details coin, call it a details coin.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are willing to collect a details coin. And for most of the coins that people try to clean and are unsuccessful, you're talking not that much money. Because
Did you see Jessica Johnson's post?
I did.
Eric?
I did. That is a
Yeah.
group that I don't see much of. The only reason I saw it is I see posts from her. And she actually copied it and posted it in her own name.
This is not the first time that he has had stuff like that.
So what is that? I wasn't tracking that.
So there's a Morgan dollar that is very obviously cleaned.
Morgan.
But you don't call it cleaned.
Call it clean. He specifically pointed those marks out and said they are dye polishing.
Uh-huh.
He specifically pointed those out, so he's fully aware that they're there, and he should know better.
Well, that and if you're even suspicious like those marks, don't buy the coin. Buy it, and if you can see it in hand and look at the luster on it, you'll know right away.
So I clearly missed.
Yeah, when it fades out real fast, you know that it's been cleaned a little bit.
Well, unfortunately, there are multiple people in that group that are not the most educated.
And what's the difference in a details coin? And I'm not familiar with the price of that coin.
Oh, quite a bit for what that coin is getting right now. It's up to $126.
That's what I say, and that's if it like say somebody thinks that coin's going to grade 63 or 64.
Okay.
If it was a details coin, it's worth $80. It's not. That's what I'm saying. So the guy's going to ruin his reputation over $40. That's what the hobby doesn't need.
And he's aware of it now.
That's what I'm saying. The hobby doesn't need people that are willing to ruin their reputation for that $40.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, vote for Pedro. This is another thing, and we've talked about this a number of times, right? Well, one of the frustrating things in this hobby with social media is you see these channels where you see somebody, they're telling this funky story or screwball thing, and they are pouring toothpaste, and then they pour Dawn dish soap, and then they pour some sort of Brillo thing, and then baking soda, and they pour vinegar over the top of it, and they're utilizing all this acidic, basic, back and forth stuff, and they're scrubbing it with a toothbrush, and then they show how pretty it can be. I just did a short where a couple people were asking me, hey, how do you identify, or what is a whizzed coin? And so I show exactly what's going on, but I also tell, number one, don't do it. It's the worst thing you can do to a coin. Number two, understand that it introduces micro scratches, but you're actually removing the surface of the coin. You're actually damaging the coin. Yes, it might appear like the coin looks better, but you're actually damaging the coin.
But under magnification, it doesn't. I can show you. It's funny you say that. I buy these album. The guy is old and he charges me $3 for the rolls. But he calls them AUBU rolls. But he told me, he says, some of these coins are whizzed. Some of these, here's a good whizzed coin. Let me get this roll had at least 10 whizzed coins in it. Let me get it up here. And you can just see that the coin was circulated and somebody tried to clean it.
Oh, you know what? This is funny because the dad joke that Nightbot and Streamlabs just appeared is really conducive to our conversation. Gotcha.
That's a whizzed coin. And it was a whiz circulated coin at that.
Okay.
Then we got, a whole bunches of them.
Yeah, but when you look at that, there is a very flat affect, and you're going to see. Now they probably whizzed and polished that, but you'll see.
Oh yeah,
these are
as shiny. These are as shiny as a proof coin.
When you
hold them in your hand.
When you see a coin that's that beat up and that chunked up,
let's see if I can show it on.
Yeah.
On my. Let's stop this, and then see if I can. That's how shiny it is. I mean, it's really shiny.
Yeah, but
that's not luster. That's like chrome.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very polished coin. But again, it's important to understand that you're not going to have a coin that's beat up. If you show those, he shows those under the microscope again, you'll see how nicked and potted and down
really
the
beat
face
up
was, and you'll see that there were heavy circulated coins. You'll never see a heavy circulated coin that looks shiny like that.
I would say these coins were VF. They weren't terrible coins. And then, of course, there you go. Here's a difference. That is, you see how the reflection is going around?
Yeah.
It's got a cartwheel to it. It's not chrome. Let me put it under the scope. And these aren't the best. Like I said, these are considered, he considers these AU coins.
So Jackknife, did what I'd say when I was responding to your comment, did that make sense to you? Are you tracking kind of where we're talking with the conversation? we've gone back and forth on a couple different things, but I want to make sure I fully answered your question. If I haven't, just put something in chat and we'll talk more about it. Eric, first, yeah.
Yes.
You've got to know what you're looking at. Again, one thing that, and I'm not talking buyer. He just pulled this.
No, I see who you're talking about.
Yeah. So when you're looking at this, there's a couple things to look at when you're looking at a coin, and this is Paula might have some resources, but I think I want to. It's hard to do with my microscope. You can't really see it very well. But what I want to show people is what happens on the surface of the coin. Now, we don't need to get to the microscopic level, but when you're looking at whizzing a coin, you're actually removing the high points of that. And so something happens when a coin is first created, like when that die hits that planchet, liquid, that metal turns into a liquid. It's 1800 degrees, 1600 degrees. It contours into that mold, and then that's how we get the relief and the devices and things like that. So, but there are imperfections in the metal, and the imperfections in the metal at that point are what allow the light to reflect the way that it does. You're not going to get a uniform reflection. That reflection is going to have what Eric just called the cartwheel effect. There's going to be a certain, what we call luster, that happens from that. You're not going to find that on a whizzed coin. You're going to see a very, very flat, shiny surface. It's going to be uniform. It's going to be across the board. You're not going to see points. When you turn the coin a certain way, your shininess is going to go away. There are certain things to look at. So when you have them do that, they'll shine it, right? Another one of the things that I've seen a lot happen is people show, a second, I'm going to show this.
You know what? Before you show your coin, Frosty, Paula was talking about die polishing marks. These right here, these scratches that you see going through the 9 and through the 5, above that, those are die scratches from them polishing the dies. That's what he's trying to say that those marks are, and they're not, because they're microscopic. So when somebody says die polishing marks, they're talking about little scratches on the die.
Like what you see there through the 1, the 9, the 5.
You see these right here. Those are die polishing marks. There. Now you can take me away. I'll stop sharing.
Well, you could have left it up there. I was just going to split the screen. So you guys see, right? And when you shine these coins, they're very reflective. But you can see, depending upon that, you see that cartwheel effect, right? And that cartwheel effect, when you shine the coin, you move it different directions. You're not seeing a full-on. Now that's just reflecting the light. But when you move the coin, that light, the reflection of the light moves. It disappears. It moves, and the reason that it moves is because it's hitting the different surfaces of the coin. So think of it as peaks and valleys, right? There's a bunch of peaks and valleys in the surface of the coin. When you whiz a coin, what happens is you're reducing all of those peaks. So you're no longer getting the reflection at certain angles because everything's been ground down to a very flat level. So you see a very sharp, flat reflection at a very certain angle. But when you turn it, that reflection goes away because it's reflecting away from you. You no longer have those peaks and valleys to reflect the light back at you so that you can see, and that's where you get that kind of cartwheel effect. It happens with silver, copper, it happens with gold. Whenever you have that cartwheel effect, you see as time wears down, that metal wear, right? So again, the more wear you have on a coin, the less the luster is going to be there. But if you whiz that down, you're not going to have those reflected surfaces. So it's only going to be shiny from one standpoint. If Eric pulls that coin back up and he shows it, and he shifts that coin very slightly, it's going to be flat. There's not going to be any reflection on the surface of that coin. So as soon as he turns it away, boom, it's gone. There's no other, it only pops out at you in one area, right? And that's one of the things that you need to be looking at when you're looking at things like whiz coins or polished coins. Because again, you're damaging the surface of the coin. You're damaging the very thing that helps you identify that it's authentic.
Jackknife asked a question.
Yep.
Are you saying to save a hobby, you need education to protect yourself from scammers? Well, no, but the education is going to help you not feel beaten down when you buy something that you've been scammed on. If you're educated to realize, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to take a chance, and then you get it and it's no good, you probably will still collect coins. You'll just be more careful. And as far as numismatics being in the decline, I think they are not. I think they are actually have increased in the last 5 years thanks to COVID. I think the number of people that got into coin collecting went up during COVID. But like everything else, a lot of young people don't want to collect stuff. They want instant gratification. They want to play. They want, they want entertainment more than they want physical things that make them happy.
Yeah, and again, so Jackknife, when we're talking about this, that's just one of the many things that you can do.
And he learned the first lesson. You can't escape human nature. That's lesson number 1 about not being scammed.
Yeah. And again, there's no foolproof way. When I first started, and I think I still have it, it's over on my display case. Hey, Richard, be happy. Thanks. He came over from the landscape or the portrait site over to landscape. So glad you found that link. I stream in both to make it easy for people who just want to view it on their phone. So thank you for putting that question in there so we could redirect you over here. Appreciate you being here.
I remember seeing you in $50 hunt streams, Jackalope. Way back.
Jackalope's a good dude.
Oh, yeah.
But again, there are a number of different things. And one of the questions he asks is, why do you think numismatics is in decline? So I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that if we don't do stuff for the hobby, there's a potential for it to decrease. There are so many things right now that are challenging numismatics. There are things that are happening in various places. There are actions that are happening. There's the social media platform. Misinformation, disinformation, people being taken, people being scammed, tons and tons of counterfeits. There are so many things that are happening in the hobby that if we're not careful, we don't teach people.
Well, here's an easy, you can just make a broad statement. Like everything else, from the economy, politics, life in general, bad public relations ruins everything. And most social media is not a source of positive public relations. So we have to be careful with social media. You have to be careful with information. So the more honest and pure your information is, the better it is for everybody who wants to do this.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How are you doing, sir?
I don't mean to keep
so one of the references that I utilized is you take, and I showed that picture at the very beginning. How many people either had fathers or grandfathers or uncles or things of that nature, grandmothers or whatever, that collected stamps? Right? I've got a stamp collection that came from my grandfather. Now, my grandfather, oh man, I hate moving. I wish you the best, bud. There are lots of people who spent massive amounts of money on stamps that the hobby just kind of fell into oblivion. Now, there are still pockets where stamp collecting is still big, and you can look at the international market. You can find places where that's good. But the problem is that it fell out of interest. There are things that happened in society between 90 and today where, the use of online, you can purchase. You don't even have to go to the post office anymore. You don't need stamps. You can go to the machine. You push the button. It generates your payment at the time. So there's a lot of different things. Yeah, changes in tech. That's a great example.
Well, look at Christmas cards. People used to go to the post office and look at the 15 different holiday stamps that the post office had.
You used to be able to go to the
Now they
post
don't.
office and get your first edition coins.
First day
Uh,
sheet, yeah.
yeah, and take a sheet. Then they would stamp it on there, and they would do that kind of stuff. But again, changes in technology. Now we're talking about coinage. Well, why is that a big deal? Well, they're not going to remove our coins. Well, Canada removed the cent. So did that?
And
What's
Canada
happened?
removed $1 and $2 bills.
Right, and so there's going to be. We talk about things like CBDCs, right? We talk about other things that are happening. There's a whole lot of stuff we haven't talked about yet. It's a very big topic, but as people who are coin collectors or numismatists or people who are interested into the hobby, there are a lot of things that you want to make sure you're looking for and kind of surrounding yourself with. Number one is a good community, and understanding the difference between good information and bad information. And I don't need, as far as my channel goes, and Eric has heard me say this, Paul has heard me say this, all my subscribers know this. I do not have to be your single source for information. In fact, I would rather utilize me as a network to get to people who are the experts, because I don't have the time nor the energy to become the expert in all of those items. But what I do and what I take pride in is connecting with people and building relationships that if somebody asks me, hey, you know what, I really want to know more about this 2-cent piece I found. Oh, outstanding. I'm going to send you to Shay Hofstetter over at LifeCoin Q&A. Hey, I really want to find out more about this 1959 Lincoln cent. I think there might be something. Hey, Eric, question for you. Hey, Chuck, I've got a question for you. Hey, I'm really trying to understand this difference between variety and error and what's the difference? Hey, Paula, can you come up and talk about the subtle differences between variety and error? Can we actually go through some of the minting process and talk about that? My goal is to provide you the resources from the people that I would classify as experts. I don't have all the relationships, but I know the people that have relationships with other people. Like if I want to find out something about the Henning nickel was talked about in here. I know to get a hold of Joe Cronin. I know how to get a hold of Joe Cronin. It's to call Paula, right? If I want to look at large cents and variations and varieties and the various things that we're finding within those large cents or the dollar coins or things like that in relation to counterfeit, I'm going to reach out to Paula and have her contact Jack Young and have him send over the information so that we can provide it to you. Generating a good community, generating a good source of a relationship of people is number one in protecting yourself. You can't do it in isolation. That's the first rule. You cannot do anything in life in isolation. You feel alone, and again, doesn't matter where you come from, being by yourself, you just can't see everything. So you need people around you. Number one rule of this particular topic is to make sure you have a community of people around you who have the same intent, the same goals that you do. Find people that are good with networking. Find people that can give you the information. Find people that want to support you and grow you as a person, grow you in the hobby. These are the people that are going to help maintain the community. These are the people that are going to maintain this hobby. Now, once we have that, now we can look at the other things that are important to you. We can look at the things that are important to me. We can look at technology and advents in technology and the potential good and harm. Earlier, Eric, we started talking about laser mapping. We started talking about some of the potential issues where the utilization of, matter of fact, we can revisit the conversation we were having before we actually went live, which is the privy mark on the flowing hair and how this is the first one that they bypassed a majority of the minting process and basically went straight to laser engraving the working die, and then they minted the coins or the metals, right? So there are advents in technology that are going to be beneficial, but those same advents in technology can be utilized by the people who are trying to rip you off. So what are they going to do? How are they going to do it? These are conversations we need to keep in mind. If any of you are in chat are familiar with cyber criminals and cybercrime and things like protecting yourself from phishing, how do you do that? You talk about it. You explain what's going on. You share the information. You make sure people are aware of the scams that are happening. You make sure you're aware of the emails that you get. You follow the FBI's notification of different ones. You check sites like McAfee or Norton or some of the other sites to look at some of the viruses that are coming up or some of the things that are put out there, the Trojans that are out there, because you inform yourself, right? So if you want to be smart about an item, you want to protect yourself from cybercrime, you're going to want to pay attention to those things. Numismatics is the exact same way. Information is going to the key to increasing the longevity of our hobby. So are there other ways, or are there other things we have to do? Yes, we're only hitting on a very small component of this. This doesn't have to be a conversation in which we get them all today. But what's really important is that we have these conversations, that we listen to people like Eric and Chuck, and that we listen to people like Paula. We go check out some of these other ones. We find people like the Coin Show podcast, who has been in this hobby for a very long time, that they do interviews with people. We can find out what technologies are coming out or what people are utilizing to counterfeit coins and some of the things that we can look for. You listen to people like I just showed everybody about the reflection of the coin in whizzing. What does that look like? Okay, well, hey, Frosty just said all this stuff. Let me do a little bit of research and find out what that actually looks like. Let me see if I can find other, because the more we start to identify, oh, you know what, that just doesn't sound right. Do a little bit of research, follow up. Stop taking everybody solely at their word, right? Make your mind up yourself.
So there's in the middle of a conversation right now with about that coin.
Say that again.
I'm right now. For like the last 10 minutes, I've been having a conversation between Jessica and the seller about that coin. About it being
see, I don't have the patience for it.
Well, so his whole thing is he doesn't understand, especially with soft metals like silver. Oftentimes when coins are whizzed, it leaves those fine scratches in the field, but they will go back in with a polishing cloth and they will polish it up, and that will remove those fine lines on the tops of those higher relief devices.
Those little scratches like that, it can even be there was some dirt and somebody took their shirt and rubbed it on their shirt.
Yeah. But the back, the reverse is, if you look at the reverse, it's very clearly been like harshly polished. So I think what happened in this case is that, and I get that he doesn't understand. He's like, well, why are they only in the field and not on the tops of the devices? Because sometimes, like I said, they will take a rotary device and they will whiz the coin, and then they'll go in with like a soft cloth and they'll polish it up afterwards, and it will remove those fine scratches on the tops of those higher relief devices, leaving the other ones in the field. And if they use those soft cloths and they polish it up enough, unless you are looking very microscopically, you won't see any marks on the tops of those devices. And that's his problem. Why are they only in the field and they're not on the tops? I think if he went in really super close to his microscope, I think he would see evidence of it. But and you can see when you look, well, he may have removed it. I just got done talking to him. When you look at the date, you can clearly see on the tops of the date that the metal has been shifted. He thinks that's a double die.
Can you do me a favor? Can you pull up that example? Because that was another thing that I was wanting.
Yeah, I can. I'll pull up pictures. Hang on a second.
You.
I mean, it's obvious, actually. I'm looking at the coin right now.
Starika, exactly. Polish your silverware, not your coins.
And specifically on that 8, when you look at the close-up of the date, that's actually moved metal.
Hi, Morrow.
So I just don't want to. Okay, hang on. I'll do some.
Yeah, what he's calling a double die is actually a bag hit. Looks like.
I think it's moved metal. I think that metal has actually been like whizzed. Like when you see kind of the rippling, sometimes you'll see when they use those rotary wire reels, you'll see rippling because the metal has actually been like displaced and moved. And that's always a weird one to see. But hang on.
You can just tell by the luster of the coin. Mm-hmm. Just looking at the coin, you can tell it's not right.
So I'm just going to show, I'm sorry, I'm having to take screenshots and
even the reverse.
I don't want his name showing up because
The
he's
reverse
fixing it. So
has been cleaned too.
he's fixing it. I had a feeling he would if yeah, but hang on. He doesn't know Jessica, so I kind of understand. Like, whoops, cancel. I want to say
She doesn't participate a whole lot anymore.
She doesn't.
It's like once a month you'll see her post coin stuff now.
Mm-hmm. And so he doesn't really know, and he doesn't know that she knows what she's talking about.
I know that name, but I don't know who she is.
She used to be really involved with copper coins. She's her YouTube channel. I don't even know if it's still up.
It's under Jessica Johnson now, I think.
Jessica Johnson now.
Yeah, it's not under Penny Parent.
She's very pretty, very sweet. She says cool beans all the time.
And she loves fishing.
And she loves fishing, yeah. And she's got a son that's all growing up that I don't understand. Tyler used to do coin roll hunting with her all the time. Okay, let me see if I can pull these pictures, just these pictures up for you guys. And let's see. So we'll go that way. No, wrong way. Okay, that way. Okay. Share screen. How do I do it on here?
Go to the very bottom.
Yeah.
You'll see a little screen with a little up arrow.
Okay. Hit that. Screenshot. Okay. So share.
Gotcha.
So this is the reverse. And you can clearly see all those fine scratches and whoops, don't do that.
Yep, and they go in different directions.
That was a screenshot of some knucklehead that I took a conversation of. Hang on.
That one right there.
Well, I don't know what happened. I think I have to open them individually. So stop sharing.
That's okay. That last one you sent was a really nice piece.
Yeah.
The one of the
and this
brokerage.
Dominic Wickline was just a knucklehead that I was having a conversation with yesterday. I don't know why it didn't. So it didn't save the. Let me pull up this picture of the date. I don't know why it didn't save that screenshot. Hang on. There we go. Edit. So anyway, so that's very clearly that is not. So when a coin is abraded by the mint, the scratches, quote unquote scratches, are not typically in straight wiping lines like that. They kind of go like all over the place.
I showed some examples of what die polishing marks look like.
Yeah. So I'll pull this up. Where am I again? Oh my gosh. Sorry, you guys. I'm not used to this.
That's okay. It'll take you a little while to get used to it.
Okay. Okay. Share. So that's the date. And I think what he is seeing on the date, so you can see how on the 8th.
Oh yeah. See, that's fold over metal.
On the 8th huh?
That's metal that's been folded over from whizzing.
It's moved metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's displaced metal.
Same on the 1.
But you notice there's none of those fine lines. So like I said, oftentimes they will go over the coin with like a polishing cloth.
Well, no,
and
there are. So if you look at that date, you can see that cross-hatching pattern.
There's scratches on it.
Yeah.
You just don't see it because of the pixelation it's harder to see because there's like pixelation of the coin. It almost looks like a piece of cloth.
Yep.
That's what I said. Oftentimes they'll go over it with a cloth.
Yeah.
With a polishing cloth. And so the lines are there. Like I said, if he really looked at it, like went in with his magnification went in, he would see them, but they would not look the same as the lines in the field. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's very clearly been polished and whizzed. Those are not dye abrasion. Those are not dye scratches. Those are scratches on the actual coin. So it looks like he did remove after I talked to him. He removed the listing, but
Here's another example.
yeah, and you see how you see that rippling?
Yep.
So that is a coin that has been whizzed by a wire wheel. It gives this wave pattern, this like rippling, wavy pattern.
Yeah, and if you look here, you can see on the T, you can see on the Y.
Acid bath can do that same thing.
It can, but it does have a different look to
Yeah,
it.
but it gives like a ripply effect too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on certain places you'll see where there's raised middle, because as they run that across, it pulls the metal up from these areas and it builds it up against these devices. So like you've seen in the date that she showed here on the T, here on the inside of the R, you'll see that metal has been raised because that metal has been pushed.
Yeah, or they hit the date and it smashes the date usually.
Yeah.
Makes it fat.
So that's another example of what a whizzed coin would look like. But again, some people can polish this stuff out and you won't see it. But one of the definite things you're going to want to look at in this type of thing is the reflective surfaces of the light, because you can see clearly how bad they're damaging the surface of the coin. Like you're really destroying the surface of the coin when you whiz it. So.
Yep. That's unfortunate too. I always hate to see that. But we see it often. Lincoln Cents, especially, people will post them on Lincoln Cents that have been with Jody Gomez had one that actually sent in. It's in a slab. I think it's in an NGC slab, but he posted that years ago. One that he had sent off, and they actually put whizzed on the label. So it was a great, I still have it somewhere in my folders, the photo of it, but it was a great example to have to show people, no, that is whizzed and here's what it looks like.
And here's another thing about grading services. I mean, getting back to old thing, I have seen
to dip a coin.
That's right. Silver coins.
It was very common practice. It was very common.
They wanted dip coins. They wanted.
It wasn't until the grading companies that came about that cleaning became an issue. The grading companies are the ones that decided. I mean, part of it was the collectors too, but decided that they wanted.
Well, look at how many people love toners now.
Mm-hmm.
Back in like the late '90s, early 2000s, people wanted blast white spot-free coins.
I still want blast white spot-free coins.
I don't know about that. I think that a true collector now will take a genuine, like a silver coin that has like a little bit of toning, stuff that's been in like mint sets or proof sets or mint sets that like there's a little hole poked in. The grading services don't really hold it against it anymore, where they used to back then. That's another thing. How they grade has changed.
I don't know.
Eye appeal is a lot more different. The way they use eye appeal is a lot different than it used to be.
So here's a warning, and this is something that I want to do. I see a lot of people, and I see Angry Warrior and stuff like that in here. There is a difference between toning a pour and toning around versus artificially toning a coin. If you artificially tone a coin, you are damaging that coin. It'll come back with details.
And there's a guy that actually goes to the fun show every year that tones Lincoln Cents, but he doesn't sell them as natural. He sells them as He sells them as artwork, and they're beautiful. I got one laying here somewhere. I mean, he doesn't sell it by a fortune. He doesn't charge a fortune. He charges a couple bucks for them, but he sells a lot of them, and they're beautiful. They look like rainbows. I mean, it's the most beautiful color patterns.
So Jackknife asks a really good question, and I have an answer, but it may not be the only one. Why don't they
There-
put bars in slabs to verify them like they do coins? One of
There
the
was a
primary
time they did
reasons is testing,
Why don't
being
they
able
put
to
what?
test the metal.
put 1 ounce rounds. There was, if they were like a commemorative type round, you can get them like the Franklin Mint
He
stuff.
said
You can
bars,
get that
not
all
rounds.
slabbed. Even the little square bars.
Yeah, but again,
Uh,
the reason
if
they
they
don't
were
do that is because to test your metals. So
But
when
they
you're
do.
buying silver or gold, you want to be able to test your metal. And if you
You can
encase
do
it
it
in
through a
plastic,
holder.
you may not be able to do so. That's
An
one of the
RF
Oh,
primary
they
reasons
do.
they don't do
There's
that.
coins that are
Yeah, you
shaped
could-
like bars.
Yeah,
There's,
they do slab bars. It's just people don't slab
Yeah.
bars because they don't want to spend $40 to slab a $20 item.
Yeah, but you're not gonna slab a 100-ounce bar.
Well, if you wanted to, you could. Oh, you might not. But I know like
No,
1 ounce
they won't do it
bars,
for testing
they were
purposes.
slabbing them. Matter of fact, at the local coin store today, the guy had a silver round in an NGS. It was some bullshit grading service,
Yep.
and he took his radio spectrometer gun, that little RF gun, went right up to the plastic slab, hit it, and said it's silver. It's
Yep.
good.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
they
It
can
goes right
test
through the
through.
plastic.
Yeah, it'll test right through the slab for sure. Those
Well, if you have
the
one of the high
Sigmas
quality
and
ones,
all of them.
yeah.
Well, heck,
Sigmas
Sigma raw coins.
Sigma
full
will
thickness,
go right
so,
through a slab too.
there's
Your big machine, not your small sigma. It will
don't know
not.
what you
You have to
mean
have
by that.
contact. No, it won't. If you have one of the big ones that the coin companies do, then yeah, you probably will. But your small sigma, your sigma minor, whatever they're called, no, it won't.
I don't know. The one Seeker has tests right through slabs, so that's all I know.
Yeah, but he's got
It'll go right
a
through a
pretty
slab.
pricey version of one. He
and I
doesn't
do
have
know that the
Sigma Mini.
RF gun that the local coin shop uses, I want to say he said he paid 12 grand for it. But he says it paid for itself in the first 6 months.
Oh, I bet.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jackknife, I have a question for you. You said, and
Sigma test through the plastic.
you
Yeah,
said you
Kevin
were
said
new-
his original Sigma tests through the plastic too. So
say again.
Kevin says his original Sigma tests through the plastic too.
Is it the Mini that doesn't then? Because there's one that
I
doesn't.
put up.
I know that some of the Sigmas will mess up on real coins.
the regular
that's true.
Sigma works on slabs.
I've heard that they'll mess up if you got like a coin that's like a Canadian 925 coin. It'll totally say that it's fake.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
Tiger Stacker did a video where he has an authentic gold coin that, by all tests, is real, but his Sigma reads it as fake.
That's what I'm saying. A Sigma
yeah.
will give a false negative, false positives. It's it's
So
like
do
everything else.
pregnancy tests.
That's just right. I got the best memory. Me and my wife having to go shopping at the dollar store to get some sort of fake flowers. And it was irony. We're in the checkout line, and the dollar store pregnancy tests were right next to the dollar store condoms. It was like, I says, are they giving you a message that you should buy both?
Well, yeah, maybe.
I put up something in the thing that I was going to share a while back when we were still talking about counterfeits, but you don't have to pull it up if you don't want to. But it's a pretty glaring example with a G. I said glaring. Of
Can you zoom in a little bit, please? Because it's hard to see.
Yeah, how things can go wrong. This was a listing in the Cherry Picker's Guide for a long time, and there are many slabbed examples of it. It's a Barber 25-cent double die. It has been delisted because it's now a known counterfeit.
But I'll bet you it's worth a lot of money still.
It is. Isn't
what I'm
that
saying.
funny? I think it's actually worth more now if you can find a graded example.
Ancient coin counterfeits are the same way.
Mhm.
They bring more money than the actual coin that was counterfeited.
But look at that. That's something, huh?
Hey,
And that was my
Jackknife,
point
hold
when we
on.
were talking
Real
about
quick, I want to
headaches.
ask a question.
Mhm.
Jackknife, you said you were new to the hobby. Is that correct?
Most dealers don't test the bar in front of the seller, but they test it when they buy. That's
All
usually
right.
how it works.
Jackknife, I want you to do me a favor, okay? I have been talking the whole time that it's important you surround yourself with good information. I want you to do exclamation point email. Email is going to pull up my email. I'm going to send you a code. I'm sending you a free ANA membership. Okay? I want you to surround yourself with good information. I want you to understand that we're here to support you in learning more about this, and I'm going to send you an ANA membership. Okay?
Testing a bar in front of the seller before buying feels
Hey, Mauro, how
awkward.
you doing? She can't see
Yes.
this chat on the other side. We have a new person
So
in the
I
chat
just
saying,
pulled up, I just showed you, Jackknife, that an example of a counterfeit coin that for years was graded and slabbed. There are fake slabs out there. I would,
There are fake
if
PCGS
you're
and
buying, if you're
PC
buying
slabs.
silver, if you're buying silver to stack, first of all, you do not want to buy it graded. If you are
agree.
just buying silver to put in your stack, there is absolutely zero reason for you to buy them graded,
Yep.
graded.
Absolutely. That's my point. I think you can get most of them, the 1 ounce commemorative stuff. I think you can get them slabbed, but there's no reason to slab them because
There's no
they cost
reason.
more than what they're worth.
Yep. Yeah, there's no reason. So, and if you go into a coin shop and you want them to test silver before you buy it, there's nothing, they have no problem.
Hey,
If you
John, with
ask
a
them,
$20
they're a
super
good,
sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
nice, John. If they are a good reputable coin shop or dealer, they have no problem pulling out their testing machine and testing it for you.
That's
So
right.
if you want to buy, if you only want to buy stuff that someone will verify, I think that's smart. With all the crap that's out there, absolutely don't feel one
And here's another thing
second
with
of hesitation.
bullion back in the late 2000s. The big thing with the counterfeit rounds was they were like 82% silver.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
yeah, we
everybody
were
was
just
like,
talking about the Omega Man. The Omega Man were actually gold coins.
yeah, they're really silver coins, but they just says, hey, instead of 999, we'll take 17% off the top, and you add that times 100,000, you got some good money.
One of the most counterfeited gold numismatic coins isn't a U.S. coin. It's actually a Russian coin. And I've done a little video on this, but what they used to do is they used to take the 2.5 or the $5 gold eagle or the gold Indian, and they would melt it down, and then they would stamp it with a dye to make it look. They would use an actual gold coin, same general weight. They would just melt it down, make it soft enough to stamp, and then they would stamp this image. It was 100% gold. It had the same thing. It always tested right, weighed right. The pliability of the metal was correct. They were just utilizing it for the numismatic value. So, but there's one other thing that I want to
Many of the counterfeit Morgan dollars that are out there are on actual Morgan dollar planchets that they have taken a Cole Morgan dollar and they have wiped it clean, and or however they do it, and they've used fake dyes. Many counterfeit coins you cannot go by, like you see all the time people say, is it stick to a magnet?
You have to be careful with the metal
counterfeits that aren't counterfeits, like the South American reals and stuff like that. Like Brazil used to take Spanish and Portuguese coins and just stripe their coins over the top of them.
Yep.
So
well, we did that in the early days,
but it's not a counterfeit.
We did that in the early days, especially with copper. We would take the pence and the half pence and things of that nature, and we would just utilize the copper pieces to make our own coinage.
Oh, the what is it? The Oregon Trail coins are counterfeited big time.
Stone Mountains too.
Yeah, I almost bought a Stone Mountain this morning. He had a pretty good deal on one, but I had spent my allowance on on pennies, so I didn't buy it.
Stone Mountain has a great DDO. I think is it DDO or DDR? Stone Mountain. I don't know. I need to look at the design. It's on where it says Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain is doubled. You can actually find those pretty easily.
You actually find those in just generalized. You buy a bag of $100 worth of halves. You find commemoratives. That one at Columbian Expo, you'll find Stone Mountain sometimes. And there's another one
on the obverse. Yeah, it is a DDO on the obverse. So Stone Mountain is actually doubled. It's a pretty nice little DDO.
Jackknife, I just replied to the email. I will follow up with you after the stream, get you all the details, get you the telephone number.
No troublemaking. Let's go.
The other thing that I want to say to Jackknife, talking about slab, is I want to issue.
Well, how old is Jackknife? Because that it would be cool. How old? I don't know how old Jackknife is.
If you don't mind putting it in, if you do mind putting it in, then don't worry about it.
Membership might be a YN membership. That would be cool.
Oh, I didn't think about that. The other thing, Jackknife, you were talking about slab coins and slab silver or gold. Just because it's slabbed doesn't mean it's authentic. So there are things to look at with slabbed coins as well. You need to look for certain things. There's a lot of information. I've got tons of information older than that. I just looked at 18 then, saying he's an adult. My mind. Talking about that. So some of the things you need to look for when you're looking at slab coins. One of the first and foremost things to look at is, can you open it? If you can open it, there's a problem. It's not a graded coin. But yeah, so reach out to me. Let me know. We'll make sure that we connect you. But yeah, so thanks for doing that. Thanks for being in the stream. I appreciate it. But
just
I want to make sure
from
we get
someone
you
know and trust.
Let's nurture
when you are brand new.
hobby.
And build a relationship with your local coin shop if you're lucky enough to have one.
Agree.
When you're brand new, just buy from someone.
I've got a great LCS. I walk in there. I only go, once or twice a month, and I mean he treats me great. If I don't take like the Stone Mountain, you said there's a great doubled die. If I says, let me see your tray of Stone Mountains to look for that doubled die, he would charge me retail price for it. But if I go in there and say, hey, I want all those, I'll take all 10 of them, he'd probably give me 25% off.
Well, if you take care of those people, they'll take care of you.
Well, that's what he said. He goes, he considers me a wholesale customer, so he gives it to me for wholesale.
That's nice.
But like I say, the minute the loop comes out, that is, you're looking through his stuff and you're a retail customer.
Which is fair. That's fair.
Right.
Yep, I agree.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, because we talked about the number of people who sit down and look at a coin shop. They'll sit at a dealer's table for an hour going through all their stuff and leave and not buy anything. That's bad.
Yeah,
form.
that should never happen.
That's bad.
That should
form.
never happen.
You're going to sit at a dealer's table. You better be buying something to show them a little bit of thanks for letting you sit there and look through their stuff. Yeah, that's just common courtesy.
Look at all the 31Ss I've bought in the last year.
Hey, Mohammed, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's I think that's just kind of one of the unwritten rules of searching.
Just coin show etiquette.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you're bowling and you walk up next to somebody who's preparing to roll their ball. Wait until they're done.
Wait your turn.
Or when you're going to play darts, don't walk up to the dartboard when somebody's throwing. That's not smart.
That's bad form.
Bad form. What movie is that from? Hook.
Bad form.
Remember Hook, Dustin
Yep.
Hoffman?
Yep.
Bad form.
Bad form.
Oh, too much fun. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. If you guys want to continue this topic, we can continue this topic tomorrow. Tomorrow is just regular chit chat. Lord knows what we'll talk about. So if you want to
have a great day, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate you coming up. Love you, my friend.
See you tomorrow.
All right, Eric. Take care, brother. I'll send you guys. I'll send you some information. We'll figure it out if there's something I want to talk about. But
Okay, doke. Sounds
all
good.
right, bud. We'll
see
talk to
y'all.
you later. All right, so let's go ahead and review this real fast. I want to thank Check Stacker and See Happy Chappy. They each gifted a membership today. And then, John, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. I greatly appreciate that. Jackknife, thank you for coming in and for asking the questions. Number one, I want to thank you because it helped do something that we have a difficult time here on this channel do, and that's stay on topic. So you asking questions really helped us stay on topic. If there's any question regarding what you need or who to talk to or questions like that, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Or if you want to look at an authenticity of a coin, or you think you found something you want information about, info@livecoinqa.com. They're not my channel. That's Paula and that team. But I 100% support everything that they do. And again, the general plug to Copper Coins, I do this all the time because I absolutely love Chuck and Eric, and that is making sure to get over there and check out their channel. If you are interested in collecting anything to do with cents, that is the channel that you need to be subscribed to. A lot of great information, good people, good humor, and tons of fun. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow morning. Go find somebody. Have a good day. Share a laugh. Just pass on some kindness. All right. Love y'all. Be well, be blessed. And I will see you in the streams.